Hey guys, it's a new video, new kind of video today. We're going to be going over our art school experiences. Chris and I went to CSUN together, and I figured, we could go over just our experiences, the pros and cons of art school in general.
Yeah, what we recommend and don't recommend, I guess.
Yeah, because there's definitely pros and there's definitely cons, but it's important to know these things before. It's a commitment too, so it's important to know these things before you.
Yeah, because when you're starting out, at least for me, it felt pretty confusing because art is pretty big in itself. So for my early years, actually, I was pretty lost. I knew I wanted to do art, but I didn't know exactly what to focus on specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted to be tech in a way, so I leaned towards graphic design. And I don't know, quickly I was like, I don't know if I really want to do graphics and product designs and stuff like that. But the good thing is, and I recommend this too for early students to just take different courses in that area. So in my case, I was focusing on graphic design, but I also took 3D sculpting, or I also took drawing as well. And once I took those classes, I was like, oh yeah, this is more my feeling rather than all the graphic stuff.
It's important to shop around and talk
basically
to people just so you could see what kind of niche you fall into.
Yeah.
See what stuff attracts you and what you love doing. I'll talk quickly on my brief experience. We went to a public university, so nothing like a private Cal Arts or Art Center over here in LA. So there's not that prestige there, but luckily, since we do live in LA, a lot of the staff do have experience working in the industry.
You get a wide variety. My professors worked in movies, video games,
for
animations,
VFX,
art directors, so you get a wide range with these type of schools, at least.
Yeah, if you live in the middle of Iowa, that might not be the case, but I'm sure they hire people who know what they're talking about, who have some experience. And then just real quick, we were in art, or at least I was in art school between 2018 and 2020. Graduated in was it May 2020?
May 2020.
Yeah, May 2020. Really a great time to graduate and go out into the world. But before that, I did go study general ed at a junior college. Same with you, right?
Yeah, I went to a local community college, but like I said, I was focused on art. Those took me 3 years, so I did do a lot of traditional art those 3 years. All the tech stuff was very basic, Photoshop stuff. But yeah, like I said, trying out different mediums, I really recommend it, especially early on, because you might be set on something and try something new and change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, actually, it was a professor in the 3D sculpting class. She came around to help everybody out, and I think one day she was just asking everybody what their focus was or what they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And for this one, she saw I was having so much fun building this wooden cardboard dragon. She's like, wow, you could really there's something called 3D modeling that you could focus on. And then that immediately sparked my interest. And I was like, what's that? And she's like, yeah, there's you could go to, and she recommended our school, CSUN. She's like, there's a program for video games or 3D, or if you just want to stick to 2D. So yeah, asking for help, I also recommend here a counselor as well, because it could be pretty intimidating. I know I didn't really push myself to go see a counselor, but if my advice for my younger self would really be to go see a counselor and really be open and honest, and with an open and curious mind, as well as what you want to do and what you want to learn, because it could really help you out with that path.
Yeah, you definitely want to talk to as many people as you can, because it's a big world out there, and they can give you lots of advice, lots of different perspectives, where they came from. Let's talk finances.
Sure.
Fortunately, I was able to go to school and graduate completely debt free because of financial aid. You know, if it wasn't for that, you know, I don't know what I'd do. That's more than other college grads can tell you, definitely. I do feel lucky not having student loans. College and university should be free, really.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at this point, it's like, it's so expensive, it's almost like a disincentive to go.
Yeah. Community college, I recommend that as well, starting out, because as far as here, California, where we're at, I think it's free now for the first 2 years. I think my brother.
Of course, after we graduate.
I know. I think my brother has been going for free or like paying very, very little. So if you're not sure, community college is honestly the way to go, not directly to like an art school in this case or a university. I have a brother actually who went straight to university, and he's like, yeah, I should have just gone. He
regrets it, yeah.
Yeah, he regrets it because he's like, I should have just gone to community college, because you're basically learning. If you're just going for the general stuff, then you're basically learning the same thing as what you would in another school, just paying like 10 times more.
I mean, and obviously if you go to like a private art school, you're not going to be having to study general classes.
No. At least there you'll be, I feel like there you're probably more, it's more of a one-on-one relationship too with professors maybe, and with students. But yeah, I mean, we didn't go there, so I guess we wouldn't be have advice there. But as far as professors at our university, I felt like they were really helpful.
Yeah.
I think I have a story with every professor. Like, they've all been pretty memorable. I don't think I had any like bad experience either.
There's some kind of like old school mindset too. But I think you're gonna get that everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like illustration. Yeah, go ahead.
I think we're probably gonna say the main one, like the no anime and
no anime, no fan art, nothing like that, which is really BS nowadays. Because it's like
they've been telling me that since like the community college days, and no, that's false. Like,
you hear stories about people like getting hired with just a portfolio of nothing but fan art. You know, the important thing is like they're looking for quality. They're looking for
you, and this is why fan art works, actually, because they're looking for you to like match their style.
Exactly.
Well.
Yes,
That's how you get hired, basically.
That's everything. Yeah.
Matching the style.
What was the Renaissance if not like Christian fan art? Let's talk about the topic of artistic growth. How did you feel like art school would have, you know, helped you with your artistic growth versus someone who didn't go to school, art school?
For me, I really enjoyed art school. I felt like I needed it. I guess it depends on every person, but it did teach me a lot of different, like I said, I think the whole trying out different mediums is what really got me. And having the critiques in class, I feel like are just so, you can't get that learning on your own, really. Like, you can, but asking like strangers, I guess, or family members, but being in school, you get other artists and the professors there, so
yeah,
that's a big benefit from going to art school.
And feedback is priceless.
Yeah,
because I mean, it's different asking your family. Of course, they're gonna be like, "Oh, it looks great. You're so talented."
That's usually what you get. So, oh, it looks so nice, or like, oh, I like this. But no, like, you go to school and be like, oh, the lighting's off here. Like, work on the shading here, and like, use
composition is shit. It's shit. Yeah. They keep it real.
They mean it in a good way, though. It's criticism, but what's the word? Constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'd say my artistic growth exploded during art school. I don't know if that's because I was making more art in general or just because of the like structure of the curriculum, but it was definitely priceless in terms of artistic growth.
Yeah. As far as the skill goes, though, for like learning art itself, you can do it online.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
I honestly, I remember being like in high school looking up like art tutorials and well, back then I didn't even know what I wanted to do with art in general, so it was pretty difficult finding art information back then. But now, like, there's tutorials everywhere and like talks and people like us making videos, so doing online research ahead of time is also what I recommend as well. And even if you're not in art school, like, I feel like you shouldn't really feel like you're not an artist or like discouraged, because no, art in itself is just making art.
It's a creative expression.
Yeah.
Let's talk on the topics of regrets. Do you have any regrets
Yeah.
in your art school
I
experience?
have some right here. So early on, back in the community college, I kept pretty to myself, and I remember just wanting to be done with class and then just head home.
Yeah.
I regret that because I there was always those announcements like, oh, join the art club, like 5 to 6 or like this and that. For me, I just wanted to go home. I feel like
Yeah.
and no, I feel like that shouldn't be the mindset really. I feel like you should really, especially during those times, you should really like explore your extracurriculum, and that's what I did when I went to CSUN. I joined different clubs. I feel like I just made friends with like literally all the classmates there. So it's being open, being yourself is really what matters.
Yeah, same here. I wish I would have been more social because I feel like as artists we're all kind of like introverted in our own way. We'd rather just be like sitting in our little cave making art. But
and there's nothing wrong with that either because I mean, like you said, most artists are like that. So we could really like relate to it. And talk to any artist, I'm sure you'll find something relatable with them.
Yeah, and like once you graduate, it's like networking and making friends. That's everything. That's how people get like jobs. So it's really important to have cast a wide net in terms of like who you talk to
build that social tree,
all that stuff. And then I also number 2 here. I said I regret not joining a club sooner. I joined a club I think January of 2020, and I graduated in May of 2020. So really wish I would have joined one as soon as I transferred over to university. But
counseling is what I also wrote as well, like bringing back to it. Just community college, I went to the counselor maybe once a year just to make sure I was on track. And then at CSUN I did go every semester, and that was just it, just to check up on classes, making sure everything was fine. But I feel like you should really like have a conversation with them and find out what you really want with them, because that's their job anyways, to counsel you.
And I also want to bring up the point that a lot of us, we're the first in our family to go to college, so you don't really have any guidance.
Honestly, that was my biggest mistake, because I am the first one from my family, so I had no idea of anything really.
Same here. I think my first year at went to Moore Park, I didn't even see a counselor. I was like, I think I should be taking general ed, but I talked to a counselor like, what are you doing? Like, they gave me a whole plan. Like,
no, I remember too, our first semester too, I chose classes, I was like, I think I'll like this. But no, I should have really just see a counselor, honestly.
See a counselor.
Yeah.
And then finally, my last regret is I wish I would have taken my time more. I spent like a couple of years in community college, and then I think 1 or 2 semesters doing my previous major, which was computer science, in CSUN, absolutely hating it. And so I felt like rushed by the time I transferred. I changed my major, and I was like, okay, I'm only going to be like an art major for 3 years. 2020 seems like a nice round number. I'm going to graduate then. It's going to be a great time. But no, it's don't be afraid. If you feel like you need more time, then you need more time.
Yeah, I wrote that down as well. Probably not enjoying it more and not taking full advantage of it all. Yeah,
because I could have been in the club longer. Could have taken internships. When I was.
Counseling. It honestly just goes back to that, because they'll recommend you what to take and what not to take. So.
Exactly.
Do you have any favorite memories? I guess.
Favorite memories. I loved the storyboarding classes I took. Souza, he was a great professor. I loved the figure drawing classes. I focused in storyboarding, and one thing they constantly told me was like, you have to have your figure drawing like on point. So I took 1 or 2, loved it, and I still go every now and then, even like as an alumni. They have like their summer like programs where you could just show up and do life drawing every other night or so. How about you?
Mine, it goes back to like friends and talking to people. My community college, I did end up taking a few art classes with some high school friends, and those are pretty fun because you get to share the experience with somebody you know. And even if it's not somebody beforehand, just sharing it with a friend or a classmate, I think that makes the whole experience much better.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else. Learning the different mediums. Oh, a funny, interesting one. I don't know if I've told you. Back in community college, there was this not random, he was an artist, an older artist who would just show up once or twice every semester and just sell art supplies.
Really?
In the hallway.
Oh, that's cool.
Like he would just set up a table and it would
Is
be
that
like
allowed?
I don't know, but he would sell it so cheap. I don't think the professors like cared either.
Wow.
That's how I got my first Prismacolor set.
Oh, that's dope.
It was a pack of 24 for I don't know, like $5.
Yeah, that's.
I still have some of the art supplies, but yeah, like he would mark it up with like a red scratch, and each scratch meant like $1. So it was so cool. I remember first seeing, I'm like, what? Like, is this a thing that happens at art schools? But it doesn't. But that was I really enjoy that because whenever he'd come, I'd be like, oh, what's something new I'm gonna try.
My art dealer, my supplies dealer.
Yeah. And then at university, let's see, my favorite memories. Yeah, just sharing, being in the club, honestly. And one thing I do regret, and I recommend, is doing an art jam because I think you did one, no?
It was an animation jam.
I wish I did, because what were the rules with that? Staying for like
It was a 24-hour contest, yeah. I think my video is still up on YouTube. I'm probably going to link it down below, so check it out.
Yeah, I wish I did that. That's one of my regrets too, because we had a game jam too. That was for a whole weekend, but I don't remember why I couldn't. But yeah, sharing with others is honestly my favorite memories. Being in class with you. And
Yeah. Making friends and shit. Yeah. Let's go over quickly about the pros and cons, the general pros and cons of art school. You know, did you have any listed down? Or do you want me to go first?
You first.
Okay. So one pro, art school provides structure. And that's, I feel like, depending on who you are, how outgoing you are, it's priceless, really. I feel like I thrive in structure. You know, if you just leave me to my own devices, I kind of get lost, I kind of get distracted, you know. So it's important to have, you know, classes to go to, deadlines, because, you know, that's going to be life after college, basically. Deadlines and assignments and stuff like that.
Yeah. I agree with that structure because, I mean, looking back now, I was so focused on every single assignment. And yeah, the one good thing about art school too, you could be on your own and nobody will really bother you either because they're all focused on their own assignments. I mean, you remember me taking my laptop and just focusing, being there.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like going to the library a lot. Having a nice, quiet place.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like at home it's just always a ruckus, I think.
Yeah, depending on your living situation.
Yeah, and school provides a nice quiet place.
Yeah, that's another regret too, is like, I wish I would have gone to the library more. Because our library is pretty big.
Yeah, it's really big.
Another pro number 2 is feedback. We already talked about that, but
yeah.
I think it's important to bring up again.
Constructive criticism, yeah.
Yeah, getting like an outsider's eyes, a professional's, you know, feedback. That's, people pay money for that, you know, after college, you know, just to get their portfolio.
And like all the students too, we're all, at least our school was pretty diverse. I feel like different cultures and different types of people and stuff. So it's like we mentioned earlier, it's not always just your family giving you criticism, same criticism or the same people.
Yeah.
It's always different people.
Yeah. And then finally, the last pro I listed was networking / community, and we already talked about that. But I'm just bringing it up. The first con I wrote is, depending on where you go, it's expensive. I know some art schools, some private schools here in LA that are more expensive than medical school, really. And people end up graduating with student debt and student loan debt.
Community college.
Yeah,
Let's go that way.
Go that route if you're going to do, you know, public school.
Yeah.
Con number 2, it's stressful, but I feel like college in general is stressful, so.
Yeah, I mean, no matter whatever major you pick, it'll be pretty stressful, but. The resources are there to help out as well.
Yeah. What's a stress-free major, you think?
Stress-free major.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And then my last con is it a con really? I wrote a lot of material can be learned off campus. Take that for what it's worth, you know. If you want to study anatomy, if you want to study figure drawing, if you want to study, even storyboarding, that's available off campus, and sometimes taught by professionals as well. But again, all the pros and cons within that, what I just said, I feel like we went over before, so
yeah,
there's that. Anything else you want to bring up?
I've been trying to think of any cons. I feel like whatever cons I had were mainly like personal. So, I mean, if you don't drive, you're gonna have to use public transportation or something. I actually really like public transportation. I've never minded it, but it is a little bit annoying having a huge bag just of art supplies and laptop.
That's another thing. Yeah, because if you're not an art major, you don't have to worry about it. Just bring your laptop.
Yeah. Oh no. I remember community college. There's a giant clipboard over there on my wall, and all the art supplies. Yeah, it's. But I mean, you use it, so.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I remember. I always felt like some kind of like pride just carrying that around on campus.
Me too.
I got my...
At first I was like, ugh, but then people notice and like, oh, that's cool. Or like, this is what I'm saying. The cons I had were mostly personal. I remember in that 3D class too, having to take every single sculpture I made, and everything was so big.
Oh yeah.
And I would have to take that on the bus.
I only had to take one sculpture class, and I didn't really have to deal with that much. But,
I mean, that was just a personal con. I really enjoyed school. I when people ask me, I do recommend it, as long as you're like financially prepared, I guess, or ready for that.
Yeah.
Did you keep all your artwork?
As much as I could, yeah.
I have. It's in a Lacy.
The hard drive.
Yeah, the hard drive. Yeah, I still have some of mine too. Do you look back on it often?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy looking back. I'm like, damn.
It's like that was me.
Yeah, I still have a lot of my other arts projects too from community college, and it's nice looking back and just seeing the progress.
Yeah, no, it's really priceless. Just holding on to that and then looking back and seeing how much progress you've made.
Literally seeing your growth.
Even like work like a year ago, it's crazy.
Is there something you recommend to students right now? Anything like keep a journal, drink tea, like something?
Back then I felt like I would draw something and I'd get fed up with myself, angry with myself if it didn't come out the way I wanted to. Just tell yourself fuck off, keep going, just keep going, because you're gonna get better. You can't get worse, unless you're like not taking any valuable lessons from your art. Just
it's the snowball effect. It's just gonna keep growing. So
I'm sure your favorite artists, if you go to their Instagram or their portfolio, or if they went back to their old work, they'd be mad at themselves too, or not mad at themselves, but like
cringe.
Yeah.
You get that cringe feeling.
Yeah.
No, you see the growth and it makes you feel nice. I recommend keeping some sort of journal. I started journaling maybe last year. You want to show that to the camera? Yeah, it's just the 2023 journal, and right here I just write down basically whatever art ideas I have. Sticky notes. I have sticky notes and just writing down every idea, because ideas are honestly priceless. Like, you'll have one, and if you don't write it down, you'll forget, and that's it basically. Yeah, and sometimes when I feel like I'm in like a rut, like an artistic rut, or creative rut, I go back to my old sketches and then I make something new out of it, Yeah. And same with the notes too. When you don't have any ideas, you just open it up and you're like, oh yeah, I had this idea. Just work on that. I'll link here to like my last video on like sketchbooks, because I talk more about that in that one too. Nice. Okay, well, that should be it. Thanks guys for watching. In summary, let's just go over a quick some bullet points. If you have the means, go to a private art school, but if not, don't worry about it. You can learn it online. Yeah, you can learn online. Talk to look for like any art like community centers or anything, because here we have a couple. I research sometimes for I want to do like more voluntary work as well. So if you can't go to an art school or have any place to display your art, doing community work is usually, I mean, looking for a small business and doing murals, that's probably a good easy way to start to display your work.
Yeah, if you don't have financial aid and still want to be a great artist, school is not, not really a must, but let me just tell you this. I just hope you're self-motivated enough to, pull off pursuing an artistic career. That's all I'm saying. It's, it's pretty hard out there. We have to keep ourselves motivated.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Keeping a strong mindset and, that structure and keeping yourself grounded.
Yeah, and on that structure too, personally speaking, I would still recommend it because I'm someone that needs that structure in their life. I'm the type of person that loves learning things, so, the whole going to school experience was really helpful to me.
Yeah,
like having that structure.
Being focused and knowing what you want really helps out too, because I felt so motivated being in school. I also always recommend it as well. I honestly really disliked school for so many years.
Yeah, no, as a kid, school just seemed like the biggest hassle.
Once especially at CSUN, once I have it written down here and I mentioned it last time, we walked into that animation room and saw the posters.
Yeah, they had posters on like Princess Mononoke, Flushed Away, Eight-Legged Freaks, which I didn't get.
Once I walked in there, I was like, wow, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my people.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks again for watching. If you're an artist who went to art school too, feel free to comment or video reply. I don't think they do that anymore. But
just let us know.
Keep the conversation going. Type it in the comments and let us know what your experience was. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching. And
see
see you later.